That's going to do it, Ralph. Were we boring enough for you?
I don't know. I think we were great.
Let's get to it.
And good evening, fellas and bellas all over the world. Welcome to the Rant. My name is Ralph Pizarro, joined by my co-host, the Vicar of Vesuvius, Rafa Rispo, and our special guest host tonight from the Calcio Guys podcast. It is Gianni Delli Colli. Yeah, we practiced that. We practiced that the whole pre-show, and I totally blew it, guys. Sorry about that. But welcome, Johnny. Welcome. Good to have you here. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm excited to be on, and I'm doing well today. How about you guys?
We're doing good. Super happy. Finally got a win this weekend, right? Nice little tre popette for Bologna, right? We enjoyed that.
Yes,
we
sir.
enjoyed that, guys. But lots to talk about today. I guess we're going to start with the game. First of all, hi to everybody in the chat. If you're in this chat, hi, hello. Get the party started. You know how it goes in here. You know how we like it. Click like, click subscribe, share. Bring in your friends, get in on the action, guys. Ask us some questions. But we're gonna start. It's a party up in here, man. Johnny's in the house. It is a party. But yeah, we're gonna speak a little bit about the. We'll start tonight's show with the game. We'll have a quick review. I know we had the post game show yesterday. What's up, Gilberto? What's going on? First one up.
Hey, Gilly Bob. What's up, Gil?
My man.
That's my dude.
But yeah, we're gonna speak about touch about the game from yesterday. Talk about a little bit. We'll segue into a couple players. Because today's show, if you saw the title by now, is OS-servando, Osimhen, and Ospina. Yes, today's show. But Johnny, we always it's kind of tradition here to always start with the new guy. So, new guy to the show, of course. But Bologna-Napoli. How was it? How'd you feel yesterday?
Well, it was a nice win. There was moments where I was like, yeah, we got the result, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's 100% convincing,
Okay.
Especially the fact that the two disallowed Palacio goals, like the first one was offside. Yeah, without saying. The second goal, I'm one of those guys that are like, look, if the keeper purposely runs up to you, has the ball right in front of you, tries to clear it, and you instinctively block it, it's not really the guy's fault. But I'll take it. I'll take the disallowed goal because I think. I think what was it, back in the day when Ronaldinho got a goal disallowed that way or something, and he got a yellow or something. It was something. Anyways, but whatever. I mean, besides a couple of hiccups, I was happy with the 3-1 win. It's nice to see Insigne get the brace. Osimhen was this close to getting a second goal, and I like the fact that he had a confidence boost last game. I think that's going to be really big for him going forward, especially for his abysmal season of injuries so far. So
right. Yeah, man. It was, well, I think how the rule goes, right? If there's a special term for it, I don't know what it is, but if they're in the motion of kicking the ball, the player's not allowed to touch it or something like that. So I hate that rule. It was the only way around. I don't know. Well, it helped us yesterday, so I'd keep it around for a little bit longer. But listen, I mean, it's kind of like when a quarterback throws, or there's all these little idiosyncrasies going on. But Raf, how about you? You weren't here yesterday. You didn't call in. I know you were super busy yesterday. We had a few call-ins. The chat was going well. Everything was nice, but I didn't get to hear you yesterday. So please tell me.
I thought it was. I'm going to go on the contrary to what Johnny says, and I think we were pretty convincing. I think we saw a lot of character from Insigne. I think Insigne just from the debacle on on Wednesday, just grabbed the team by the throats and said, "Let's go." Sort of like how Gattuso would do on the the offensive.
Right.
I see a lot of character traits. Similar character traits between the two. Mm-hmm. The fact that Osimhen came in for Mertens, which, I mean, when I saw Mertens coming off, I was like, oh man, it's just, something's up with him. He's still maybe favoring that tender ankle. For
sure.
But man, Osimhen made an immediate impact on the team. Immediate. And this is the type of thing I think that Napoli have been missing this whole time. You know,
Right.
when you think about how much we pass back and how much we play back to the defense and to the keeper, and you know, we're always looking to go back. It's because we don't have guys like Mertens 100% or Ospina to rely on a counter. Like when you think about it, like one thing that I took from the game yesterday was like, wow, we're counterattacking like crazy with Osimhen on this. And you know, we're not just stopping and passing back. We're starting to make some forward passes, especially with Osimhen in there.
Right.
And it's like that first touch that he has is so big because he can outrun any defender in the league, I believe.
Yeah.
And yes, he missed 2 shots after 2, but you know, we haven't had those opportunities.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's
or even
not
the creativity, you know, even the creativity in there.
Exactly. You know, we'll go a little more deeper into
Sure.
Osimhen later, but I believe that, you know, overall I thought, hey, Ospina came back. Ospina came back. I thought he did a perfect job. I thought he did a great job. You know, 2 really big saves in my mind. You could just tell that he's in position. He gets himself in position. He makes the effort to get himself into position.
He had that super crazy reaction save against Palacio.
It was a great reaction save against Palacio. And you know,
all positioning.
Yeah, it's all about that. It's all about that. I'm gonna push for Ospina to play more this season. Now, whether he stays with us, you know, next season or we still have both, I think that, you know, Medet could be the future of our club, but I think that we have to rely on Ospina now, you know, and he played really well. You know, there was, like you mentioned, the punt that was blocked. I mean, I was pissed that the goal had stood for a second and they changed the scoreline to 1-1. And I was like, how are they going to get away with this? I said, there's no way that's not an interference. It's like, if you're going to call interference on that goal against Benevento, that was it Benevento or was it, I forgot who scored the goal. Was it it wasn't the Insigne goal. It might've been a goal. It was a recent goal. Sorry. I'm flustered, but it was an interference call. You know, I think the Zielinski buried it and Insigne was in the way of the keeper.
Oh,
it might have been against Benevento.
Yeah.
If you're gonna call that and not call this, I was like, what the heck? So that's not really his fault. You know, I'm not faulting him for, you know, messing up the punt.
Right.
Yes, his pass to Demme was a little bit too hard where Demme lost the ball and caused the goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was just as much Demme's fault as it was Meret's fault. I mean, Ospina's fault. So I was upset that we gave up the goal because we had such a good, record going. We had the 4 straight wins with all shutouts in the last 4 Serie A games. So that pissed me off a little bit. Mm-hmm. But all in all, man, I think we played great. I think Zielinski played wonderful. You know, I mean, it wasn't his best game, but the two assists, like, just amazing. And then Fabian was just excellent. Demme, besides the ball he gave up, was excellent. Gulam was playing well until he got hurt. Yeah. Feel gutted for Gulam. Absolutely gutted for him.
Well, let me ask Rafa if I can. Go on. Actually, I'm sorry.
No, and the last thing I was going to say is Politano for me was awful. Yesterday was the worst player on the field. If you ask me, Politano was. Except for that one shot that he had towards the end of the game, which was a great shot. But I think he was one of the worst players on the field. But hey, these things happen. He's overplayed as well. Listen, he's been playing a lot and he's been playing hard since Lozano's been out.
Yeah, exactly.
We could, if he's gonna have a bad game in a 3-1 win against Bologna, okay. But man, Lorenzo Insigne was just.
Lorenzo Insigne was my beast of the match yesterday. I don't know if you saw that.
Well, I did see that. I didn't watch the whole thing, and I know usually we confide in each other, like, who's your beast? Who do you think the beast is? And I told you, listen, I won't be able to watch this game. I didn't even get to start this game till 8:00 last night.
It was hard to pick. It was hard to pick, Rafa. But at the end of the day, Insigne literally did everything that a beast would do, and I was just like, I got to give it to him. I mean, he was the man of the match, I think, without a doubt.
Yes,
but he was also the beast, and a lot of that it didn't just come from the goals. Again, Johnny, I don't know, it's just like a little rule of thumb for the beast of the match here. And then I actually want to ask you a question. I want your opinion on something. But with the beast, you know, we always look at people who do things that are not quite as sexy and, you know, and showy, but they do all that hard work. They're beasting it, trying to help the team. And typically you'll see something come from maybe a defender or a midfielder setting up plays or just helping out. But yesterday, I mean, Insigne was just box to box, helping on D, scoring goals, being a leader, doing everything that was necessary for him to get the team to push forward. And I just had to give it to him. But I'm curious. I want to ask you this question because Fabian Ruiz, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to throw a curveball at you, but Fabian Ruiz, all right? You probably know what this question's going already. But, you know, there's always a lot of, like, back and forth. I like him. I don't like him. He's good. He's not good. Sell him. Keep him. Sell him. Based on his performance, maybe compared from the last few games compared to maybe what we saw in November or so, how did he, you know, what are your thoughts on him right now compared to maybe a month ago?
Right
or
now,
were they same, or have they changed?
Well, I think like right now, just the whole team itself, I feel like as if they're going through like, I guess, waves of inconsistencies. You know, like we're seeing performances from players that like one game they'll play fantastic. And then the next game, they just have a drastic dip. And, you know, sometimes it's not their fault. Yes, with injuries and whatnot, they are getting overplayed, like what Rafa said before. But right now, I would sell Ruiz, not because I hate him, but he still has a value on the market. Because right now, I feel like as if he is on a bit of a slow decline. He had a lot of promise. He did show it. You know, I think also like what was it in the Euro under 21 Euros or something? You were player of the tournament.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, if I remember,
scored those 2 goals, right?
Yeah,
yes,
like,
he was the player of the tournament. Yes.
Yeah. So, like that's the thing. Like he has so much promise, and I think you can bank on that. Right now, I dislike him but not like in a crap talking way where like
no. Just in your opinion, yeah.
In my opinion, right now, he's been losing marks in my book. Okay. If I was ADL, I would sell him not because he's a bad player, but sell him because he still has value and maybe even for the guy's career might have success with another team or might have, you know, you can get something for him to help improve other spots.
Right. And he still hasn't re-signed a contract or anything, so it's possible that maybe even he's interested in moving on from Napoli for whatever reason. But okay, I hear that. I mean, I know Rafa. I know him and I tell you, me and Rafa are so back and forth on Ruiz. You know, one day I like, one day you like Rafa. You know, so,
and I agree with Gianni. I mean, I feel like he's definitely, you know, you have a case to be pissed with him, and you have a case to like really be like, oh, you know, he had a really good game, and he's had a couple good games. But I mean. Yeah, Peter Scala says it. You know, the first he comes through. Sometimes he comes through with some goals, some passes, some plays. When he's on, but he's got to be closer to goal. We have Zielinski to take care of that.
On
know
fire.
What I mean? I think he's the most underrated midfielder in Calcio right now.
Okay.
And
definitely.
You know, Fabian just doesn't fit in that plan, especially if the rumor, and I'll beat this like a dead horse, if the rumor of, you know, Zaccagni is gonna come in next season, you know,
it wasn't really confirmed. I thought it was confirmed.
Well, it was confirmed that there was an agreement. There was a handshake agreement, but you know how that is. There was also a handshake agreement with James Rodriguez. Whatever happened there, you know what I mean? Yeah. So let's just take it for what it is. You know, the fact I think everyone's talking about selling Koulibaly. I think
they've been saying that every year. Enough.
I think the big sale this summer should be Fabian, and let's not touch Koulibaly. Koulibaly's a once-in-a-generation defender, and I don't care. Everybody can talk about how he's out of position, and he's cost us this since Albiol left, and he doesn't have this with Manolas and this and that. I don't really want to hear it at all.
Johnny's because
Koulibaly is top 2 defender in the world.
I agree.
He's a once in a generation defender that you can't sell. So we sell Fabian for top dollar. hopefully to Real Madrid, who might want to pay 70 mil, and we reinvest.
And I agree, because like Koulibaly, he's only out of position because he's making up for the mistakes of some of the guys around him.
Yes,
Right.
Thank you very much.
He's the glue of the defensive backline for Napoli. Without him, it's a mess. I'm sorry, and it sucks to say, because we lose Koulibaly, we lose almost everything defensively.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Stays,
I never want to
out.
see this guy leave. I feel bad for him though, because he's so talented, he's so fantastic, and he's not getting the love and appreciation he deserves unless you're a Calcio fan, because he's playing on Napoli. He's like, people are praising Virgil van Dijk. I rate Koulibaly higher than VVD. I will say that. I know it's a controversial thing to say, but I will die on that hill. Why? Because Koulibaly's doing so amazingly with what he has around him. Imagine if he had a better supporting cast. Just that's like, like he went to the finals with Senegal against Algeria, which is one of the better African teams. Like, I'm not saying Senegal is a bad roster, but they have maybe one key player in each position, and that's about it. Whereas Algeria is more of a complete unit type of thing. Imagine that, like Koulibaly, if he was on, like, if he ever does leave, I hope it's for a team that helps him get that Champions League push that he deserves. That's the only reason why. Unless we can provide it for him. I mean, like, hey, if not, we can do it. I mean, that would be amazing too. But
I get that, Johnny. But a guy like Totti deserved the Champions League push, and he didn't want to leave. Not granted, Totti's from Rome. Koulibaly's not from Naples, but Koulibaly, Mertens, Hamsik when he was here, he went off to China and he just signed with Göteborg, but the bulk of his career was with Napoli. He could have gone anywhere he wanted to in Italy and made a Champions League push, and he stayed with Napoli. Same thing with, like I said, Totti in Roma, De Rossi in Roma, Del Piero at Juve. The list goes on and on. He could have accolades elsewhere too, but at the same time, what does he even want that? Like, you know what I mean?
No,
he's making top money at Napoli right now. I think he's the highest. Could be wrong. It might be Osimhen with him coming in. Yeah. But he's making or it could be Mertens. He's making good money.
Right.
His kids were born in Naples. They love the area. There's a lot of other things to think about besides trophies and glory and titles and this and that and the third. There's a lot of other things to think about, and to me, he's a happy man. Like, I know he would go if Napoli needs to sell him for money, but really the only way we need to sell him for money is if we don't make the Champions League. Or if we don't make Europe altogether, even,
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that, he's a staple of the club, but he's also top in his, like, he's a top defender, man.
So
this is a guy that you don't get rid of, I
got Joy Bianco in the house. He's been saying a few things, and we got to address it because, we love Joy Bianco, by the way, Johnny, big supporter of the show. He's in the Calcio Napoli Club with us.
Joseph
he
White.
Says here, Joseph, and by the way, Joey, we're gonna do that thing. Listen, Joey, if at some point you have to leave tonight, let me know right away. I promised you today I was gonna show you something. I had a little story. I want to do it tonight. I didn't forget. If you have to go, let me know and I'll do it right away. But I'm gonna wait towards the end of the show. But I love him as my favorite Napoli player right now. But he's not a perfect defender. I mean, show me a perfect defender, and I'll show you 10 Scudettos for Napoli.
But listen, everybody makes mistakes. But even the best defenders have made mistakes before.
Right.
But like we said earlier, it's a lot has to do with covering the
supporting
Maximovic and sometimes Ramani. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel like with Manolas there, man. There's especially at the beginning of the season, Koulibaly and Manolas were deadly. They were deadly because they were both fit 100%.
So he also says, I'd even say out of position thing, and not just been reaping awards. It's not like he's banging goals or getting assists or having key passes for goals. It would just be a different story. I see what you're saying. Maybe I wouldn't mind a few more headers on the corner kicks, but overall, the Napoli corner kicks are just atrocious. Nobody does them good. Nobody. But he is our center back. His job is to protect the defensive zone, and no, he's not perfect, and of course he makes mistakes, but he's also part of the mistakes. And you say here risk reward, and it's, you're a little right, you're touching something here, is that he is, or he was, I'm not sure if the stats changed a little bit since he got injured, but he was one of the best dispossessors in the league, if not Europe. at some point. So that risk coming forward, that's just part of his game. His game is to attack, and maybe every now and then he'll miss it, but think of all the times that he was successful dispossessing somebody or stopping a play dead in its track way, before it got into the box. And that's where I really like Koulibaly. And I just think he's at the top of his game right now. I don't know how much better he'll get. Maybe he'll be more confident. Maybe he'll learn a trick or two. But at this point, he loves Napoli. He said, in fact, he even said, Rafa and Gianni, I don't know if you remember, he even said that he'll only leave Napoli if it'll help the club. He said, I don't want to leave.
That's why I brought that up.
I don't want to leave, he said. But if the money for me will help Napoli, and that's what they want, I'll go. And I never heard anything like that from another player before, so just for that. But we still love you, Joe. Don't worry. And I still got a story for you. But
so, I mean, let's he does a lot for the city on and off the field. He does. Him, Mertens, they were very instrumental in getting Victor acclimated to the city, whatever the word is, acclimated, whatever. But where I'm going with that. But on Osimhen,
moving forward,
his return yesterday, man. Like, I feel like yesterday was the Osimhen we've been waiting for.
Yes.
And Ralphie B, Johnny, on this show, right when we first started the show, was the one, and I was contrarian to this point, but he was absolutely right. I feel like when he came back, he wasn't the same as when he left. I had made the point that, well, Osimhen didn't play after COVID, he didn't play until Napoli because France was canceled, and the last time he played for Lille was March something. And he came into Napoli and made himself really known. The presence that was felt. Then he went down with the shoulder. Then he got COVID, and he came back, and he did not come back to 100%. I think it's clear that everybody could tell Victor Osimhen was not 100% when he came back. Then the head injury, and it just looked doom and gloom. But the Victor Osimhen you saw yesterday was the 100% Victor Osimhen that we need before the next stretch of this hell week coming up.
Yeah.
And I love that. A lot of fans out there are just throwing their arms up and saying, Osimhen's a bust all of a sudden, just like they did for Lozano last season. And Joey Bianco on a Juve Inter wouldn't strand their defenders and the please. No. Who is this? Joey Bianco said he had shared a post in our WhatsApp chat that I'm in. I thought it was him speaking. I knew I didn't recognize the voice. It wasn't him. It was another fan of ours who had said something about Osimhen not being top 10. Like everybody's saying, the Osimhen, wait, give him time. He's young. He has to act, he has to get, accustomed to the league and this and that. And his point was he won't be like that. Look at Erling Haaland. Look at, players like, top strikers that we've seen, that Osimhen should already have been scoring goals left and right, no matter where he is, blah, blah, blah. But the guy got hurt. The guy didn't have a fair chance. He's played, I think, his 12th league match yesterday, and not all of them were starts because of the injuries and stuff. You cannot judge a player based on the amount of time that he's had this season on the pitch, just because he cost 70 or 80 or whatever the cost was. You cannot judge him based on this season alone. Now, if he had been playing every game and he's only got his third goal and his last goal was against Bologna in the last round, then I understand. If he hadn't been injured, I understand. But you have to give the guy some sort of leeway. You know what I mean? Because if this is the Osimhen that we see next season, it's lights out. Especially with Lozano back, Insigne doing what Insigne is doing, having the best season of his career, by the way.
That'd be dangerous.
and Zielinski or Mertens in that spot, forget it. Forget about it. Victor Osimhen, okay, left the space for us to properly counterattack yesterday. And I want to see more of that. I want to see that against Milan. I want to see that against Juve, and I want to see that against Roma, man.
Like, what I loved what he did yesterday, his first touch when he received the Zielinski ball on his goal, right on the outside of his right foot to give him the space to just burst right through. That's a very hard thing to do, especially near top. Well, he wasn't perfectly near top speed, but on his way to build up his speed, you know.
Yep.
And it created so much space for him, and he's outstretching his arm because he is a big guy. He creates that room for him, running that pass, still possessing the ball, placing it well. That's the Osimhen that we need, and that's what I expect to see further on. And plus, yes, he did come at an expensive price tag, but it's not just for 1 year. You're building a brand with Osimhen. I feel like as if there's a big project that's going to be in development with him. And you're right. You're 100% right. It's completely unfair to judge a guy based on 11 league games. I think it was 12 or 11 league games. And only 3 or 4, he actually played the full 90 minutes.
Right.
He's not getting a fair trial. I have a group chat as well on WhatsApp with some friends here in the city, and they're fans of various teams. And some of them were calling him overrated, but we actually had like a big back and forth where it's like, hey, the guy hasn't played a full healthy season yet in Serie A. Can we hold off on the overrated talks until this guy actually has 2 or 3 years under his belt? You know, It is an adjustment coming from Ligue 1 to Serie A. It's a big, big adjustment. It's not the same type of competition. It's not the same type of environment. There's a lot of X factors that takes a lot for a player to develop. And perfect example was Lozano last year. Last year, Lozano had a very, very subpar year. And this year, I would say Lozano is probably in the argument for our MVP of the season prior to getting injured. You know, like he had a consistent string of just scoring goals for us, you know. And
I mean, numbers wise, he's probably still our MVP right now. So, but go on. Right.
And then on the Insigne goal yesterday, for example, I think he even Osimhen even headed it off his head to give the ball to.
Yes.
You know, like the guy's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got some strength. I wouldn't give him the Patania level of strength, but he's still got strength himself. We don't have a guy with that size in the box unless we have guys like Patania and Osimhen when we have the corners and stuff. Because let's be honest here, you know, guys like Lozano, Mertens, and Insigne are probably not even winning any air balls, right? But,
no.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like he offers such a different thing for offense, like a different style, different taste, for lack of a better term, that I love watching because you don't see that often for the past few years with Napoli. You know, it's refreshing. And side note, just a random fun fact, I think when Napoli got Osimhen, there was like a random fan club that opened up in Nigeria for Napoli.
Yes.
It was something on Twitter that I saw that the first ever Napoli fan club in Nigeria opened up. And that's just a small example of what Osimhen can do for building the Napoli brand and making it more, I guess, global, which is going to just help out the team in the long run. So I think there's a bigger picture here that people need to see with Osimhen. There's a lot. Obviously, you want performance, but there's a lot more going on.
Well, look at the accolade that he picked up. He picked up the Nigerian Footballer of the Year 2020, and he barely played in 2020. It's like that's saying something, you know. That's saying something that Nigeria is watching this kid. You know what I mean? And to exactly to what you said, Johnny. It's a globalization that's come pretty late in the Napoli, you know, camp, but it's getting there. You know, you got the best player from Mexico, you got the best player from Poland, you got the best player from Nigeria now, possibly one day best African player. You know, you got the best African defender. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
you know, and it's you got right now. You got the hottest Italian player besides probably Barella. You know,
definitely.
The
really good Macedonian. You know.
Yeah. He was good for a day.
He was good for a day. Poor kid. He's young. Give him time too. He'll be fine.
Okay, Ralph.
Give him
all right.
time.
Give him time. Yeah. All right.
How old is he? Isn't he like? how old is
He's
he?
young. He's young. Give him
Young.
time. Yeah. Okay.
Give him
get-
some
yeah.
time. Be fine.
But-
He only played
okay.
6 positions this year. I mean, give him some time.
We have Ralph Bizarro over there.
My name is
Ralph Bizarovich.
Bizarre.
When's your Macedonian passport? Is it coming yet? Or is
I'm
COVID
still
telling
waiting.
you?
The COVID has delayed so
all
much
right,
things. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, back to you know
Back to
you know, we have great players. We have wonderful players, and Osimhen Koulibaly is a superstar. I don't care who says what, but Osimhen will be that next superstar. How long, Antmino Torres? How long until Napoli gets an American dude? I wish we had Weston McKennie. If I have to pick one Juventus player to come over, probably besides Dybala, it's Weston McKennie.
How about
I think
Napoli
he
gets a
is
Canadian like Alfonso
brilliant.
Davies? How about that?
Dude, Alfonso
Well,
Davies is a world
technically-
champion now.
Technically, they said American, so this person.
Yeah.
So North American
Yeah.
could be Canada as well.
we can work it out somehow.
Work is something.
But dude, nah, Amato, no, nah. Where do you put him? He's a winger. Where do you put him? Politano,
No more wingers.
Lozano, Insigne. Where are you gonna put him? You know, but honestly, you know, I just think that the panic for Osimhen needs to just chill. And I you know, I saw Joey say that, you know, who's saying these things. I don't know.
That's true. There we go, Joey. There, see,
We do have an American. That's
have an
right.
American.
Yeah, there you go.
North American, yeah.
Well, Mexico's North America, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah. There you go. All right, we got one. We got an American, ladies and gentlemen. It's confirmed. Davies can replace Johnny's boy, the 40-year-old American.
No, please.
All right,
He's
inside
not my
joke.
boy. He's been busting
Okay.
balls for you.
Okay, inside joke. It's all right. I figured it was a little banter. But guys, you know, something I mentioned yesterday in the post-game show, and when I look back at Osimhen, he came, like you said, he wasn't playing much in the league. Then he comes to a new, more challenging league, to a language he can barely understand, you know, in a soccer style that he hasn't had much experience with, and he still tries. He finally starts to get his footing, and then he gets injured. He starts to get better, and then he gets COVID. And COVID, remember, knocked him out for like 20 days. That was 20 days. I think that was the most out of any player, with the exception of maybe Zelensky.
Ibrahimovic. For Napoli,
as far as
but
on Napoli goes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Ibrahimovic is
yeah.
out. That's
Zelensky and
'cause-
Elmas were out for a while.
Yeah, but Ibra's like 68 years old, so that's why you probably have a little hard time. But like, a little shade. I love that man. But but think about it. He had to go through all that, then had to get his footing back again. Remember, and you said it, Ralph. I was like, he's going to take some time, maybe a couple weeks to get back a few games.
Yeah, I was totally against that take, and you were absolutely right, Ralph. I will bow to your knowledge in that situation, dude. You had that nailed because he was not the same when he came back. The Osimhen you saw yesterday was the real Osimhen, and I think we can see that going forward. But you were absolutely on the money with that, man. I didn't see that coming, dude. I really didn't.
Well, and here's the deal. Right after that, he gets concussed, or somewhat of a concussion.
Yeah.
Poor kid.
He got the game knocked back into it.
And then he comes back. Yeah, seriously. He seriously did. Because then he comes back, and look what he did. And I started even looking at some old highlights from the beginning of the season, and like, the dude's creative. I just think he needs to get comfortable and confident, and he'll get there. And like you said, Rafa, there'll be some type of project. But the whole overrating thing, I think just because they saw him flashing a little money on his birthday or whatever, people just they lost their nerves.
You saw what Oma Akatuba said. He said that's a ritual in Nigeria. Dude, listen.
You ever been to a Greek wedding, for crying out loud? I mean, like,
man, customs are customs. Customs are customs. As weird as we may think they are, that's probably something normal from Nigeria. Dude.
Yeah.
We can't judge based on, we can only judge based on what we know, and that's something that's not fair. It's not fair to just be like, oh, look at him splash his money. Who the fuck do you think he is? You know what I mean? No, dude, like that's a custom in Nigeria.
In fact, and anybody who's watching this right now, whether you're on the replay or in the chat, I beg you to go watch the Far From Vesuvius podcast when Rafa interviewed
It was an audio only. It was an audio.
It was an audio only,
yeah,
but
yeah,
still,
yeah.
it was it was one of my favorite podcasts, Ralph, because I really felt like I learned something about Victor that day when I was talking. Like I realized that, hey, this kid's a good kid. He's like a good kid. He's probably a humble kid, and I think he's happy with this new project. I learned a lot about Victor that day for some reason. I feel like, you guys did a great job that day. And I beg anybody here to go listen to that, because you're talking about a firsthand account for somebody who speaks to Victor, who knows Victor, and all the signs pointed to not only a fantastic player, but a fantastic person.
It was a great story. It was a great story to listen to.
I'm going to hop out for 1 second, guys.
Go ahead. It was a good way to get to know him before the season started. I don't know, Johnny, if you heard the interview or not, but
I heard bits and pieces. I had it loaded, and then I had to go leave for work, and then I forgot to look it up. So I'm sorry. I saw.
No, don't be sorry. Just go to the archives and listen to it. It's timeless. It really is. I mean, it's a look at Victor. It's a look at how Oma and Victor met. It's a look at how the the transfer went through, and just his mind frame and where he wants to be and all that, and it's a great outlet to pass some time, to learn a little bit about Osimhen. But I'm gonna move on while Ralph is gone, and I'm gonna open up the talks about Ospina. Oh, there he is. I'm gonna open up the talks about Ospina. Now, Ospina for me,
let's do it.
There's a lot of Ospina versus Medet in here, right? And I'm on the Ospina train. I realize he may be leaving next season. I realize that Medet is our future, perhaps. I realize that Medet is a fantastic goalkeeper. He's just got his things about him. And I realize that Ospina is a fantastic goalkeeper, but he's got his things about him. But we've got, in 12 Serie A matches, Medet has given up 17 goals. And in 13, Ospina's only given up 12. Five shutouts for Medet, for Ospina, 4 for Medet in the league. So that number's close. But for me, I just feel more comfortable, and this is going to be so contrarian to a lot of people, with Ospina in the net, man. I just do. I feel much more comfortable. He can send a ball down the field and turn that into an assist like that, or into the hockey assist, the second assist.
Yeah.
And I just, again, and whether it be experience or whether it be just his positioning, I was in the middle where I was like, they should play the equal amount of matches. They should be split in half. 1 game Ospina, 1 game Medet. 1 game Ospina, 1 game Medet. And my cousin is in here, Soflo Luca, and he's saying that he agrees. But I tell you what, him and I had it out. He's the one who called. Like, I feel like I'm lacking today because I lost to Raf with the Ospina thing, and I lost to my cousin Luca for the Medet thing. I was trying to just was trying to have Medet's back any which way, and they made me see that, he's out of position a lot. He's gives up a lot of howlers, especially this season. That second goal against Granada should never have gone in a million years. He had a great game against Juventus, and I have to give him that. And he saved our ass and won the Coppa Italia for us, and I have to give him that too. But other than that, and a few really nice saves every now and then, I see him looking a lot. I see him out of place, flat-footed a lot, and it's scary a little bit. I like Medet, and I want him to do good, and I want him to be our starter, and I just do. But if he doesn't make the national team for the Euros, I'm not surprised. And you could chalk that up to playing time, and you could chalk, but I feel like if you're a keeper and you're a good keeper, you're ready all the time. That's the one position where it's like you don't really get the excuse of, I haven't played that much, so I'm soft. I think in the keeper position, you got to be ready all the time. How many times have you seen a backup keeper come in and have a fantastic game? Like, where's he been? You know what I mean? for
True.
other teams. So that's what I just have to say about Ospina. I think I'm on the Ospina train. I know a lot of people are on the Medet train.
Johnny?
And there you go. What do you think,
Johnny,
Johnny?
what ticket did you buy, Johnny?
It's
We got Metro cards in New York, so
And
I mean,
listen,
yeah, no,
I
we have
transfer.
we have Opus cards. They're called. It's like one chip card that you can just use for all the public.
Oh,
channels,
okay, yeah.
Metro and whatnot.
I transfer, so for me,
I am a bit on the Ospina train because I have to agree with Rafa that I do feel more confident with him in nets. Yes, there was times where he's pissed me off with certain mistakes that he's done, but then again, a lot of them, it's mostly happened because of defensive lapses or whatnot. Mere, I feel like as if you'll have that one game on, one game off. Like you'll have that fantastic game where nothing's getting by him. And there'll be games like I'm not sure if you remember, I'm pretty sure you guys remember the Milan game this season where Hog, he's running in and Mere is already going down as Hog just nice little chip over him to get his first ever goal. It's, why are you? Maybe I don't see something. Maybe that's why he made the decision. But I find Mered is prone to making errors. I think a lot of people are just frustrated because we see our competitors and they have these consistent goalies that like they're like let's say 4 games out of 5, and then there's obviously the rest game, and they perform well. And us, like we'll have Ospina 1 game, Mered 1 game, and we don't. It's like they offer arguments for each one, and it's like we don't have that like, okay, this guy's a rock, he's going to be the guy going forward. Mered does have the advantage of being younger, and he does have time to, let's say, grow. But I think he's 26 now. I think he's 26, 25.
Mered?
25.
I'll find out. I'll get an official, guys.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head right now, and I mean. At what point do you start to like, okay, now you're no longer a rookie kid or a young
23.
player. 20. Wow.
He's 23.
Then who am I mixing up with that he's 25, 26? Anyways, I'm way off. But
Got you.
that just destroys my entire argument right there.
Have a nice day, folks. Good night.
Well, no, because look at Donnarumma. Donnarumma is 23 now, right?
Yeah, but no, he's 22 now.
All right, let me get another
confirmation. He's been playing for 6 years. He's like, and if anybody wants to come in and like, oh well, look at 22. Donnarumma and sit and argue
Donnarumma's
that.
an exception. Donnarumma's an exception. That guy,
an exception. He's an exception.
He's an exception. That he's a generational player in terms of goalies. He's a guy that like won't see for another maybe 30 years. We had Zoff, then there was Buffon, and then now there's Donnarumma.
Sure.
Like when are we going to see another type of goalie that can just like play at 16 years old without missing a beat type of thing? So I think we're what was it? AG wrote it in the chat that Napoli is blessed. We have 2 starting goalies that we can play at any moment. We have 1A and a 1B, and depending on the matchup, they could play either or. Start Mere for all the Juve games. I agree with that. He just wants to beat Juve, and he gets the blank sheets versus Juve.
Yes.
I agree 100%.
Had an incredible game. That's why.
I think what Napoli can do is probably extend Ospina for another couple of seasons, because especially goalies nowadays, they can play till 35 plus.
Oh, sure.
They can keep on going if they stay. And Ospina's no slob. He stays fit. He stays in shape. He can, if he keeps on staying healthy and he keeps on keeping in great form, we can ride him out. And if it helps Mere grow in his position and help Mere grow in his confidence and his decision making and whatnot, why not? Ospina can even be a great mentor. Like he is a great mentor, but can continue being a great mentor for Mere, so that when he decides to leave, Mere is going to be like a solidified number 1, not like okay, he's got a couple of bad games. Like no, if it's going to be a bad game, it's going to be 1 out of 10, let's say, instead of 1 out of 5.
Just to lighten things up a little bit, I always sometimes with Ospina, when he comes out to make that save or something, I always feel like a bone is just gonna pop out.
Oh yeah,
or something like that.
You always fear for his fitness.
Yeah, you know that little. It's like a little skit video, like a little spoof video of that goaltender, and he's getting smacked in the face with the ball.
Yeah,
That's David Ospina to me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why. What up, Joey in the house?
Joe Dench. Yeah, but to
Joe, we're talking about Ospina. Okay.
to go a little
Just so you know.
further to what Gianni said, yes, Ospina could stay on for a couple seasons, help mentor Meret, but like someone in the chat earlier had said, Zaccagni would depend on if we get a new DM, a new head coach, a new idea. You know, the gentleman handshake is there with Verona, but who knows when somebody new comes in. I think the same thing could be said about the Ospina Meret, duel here. Like if somebody new were to come in and be like, you know what, it's going to be Meret, we're going to have him in there. Ospina could mentor him, or we sell Ospina. See you later. We're going to bring in a backup for Meret. It's going to be Meret. We're going to keep him going. That's a very possible scenario. And Joe, you've missed a couple of minutes of the show. I agree with you. Meret is the futuro, but right now, l'adesso is Ospina. It's gotta be for me. I'm sorry. Mind you,
we're gonna use that
you
again.
You won't see Meret send that ball halfway down with a punt to like Fabian to Insigne for a goal. Especially now that Osimhen's back, he's gonna find Osimhen and get an assist. Didn't he do that already? I don't know if it was Osimhen, but he'd done it already where he sent the ball down and got himself an assist. Like dude, I'm sorry, that kind of distribution is like priceless.
It's important.
And the fact that he can make saves and he's acrobatic and he's not the tallest keeper I've ever seen. That's another thing. I always wonder if like some tall brute, striker is gonna like out jump him, and he's out jumping everybody.
Right.
So I don't know, man. For me, it's Ospina for me right now.
Well, let me bring up a scenario for the both of you, and let me ask you this. If we get to keep Ospina and kind of run more or less the same strategy that we were doing this season, is that okay with you? Like, so just to be clear, if we can keep both goalies, if that's a possibility, and then maybe have them flip-flop a little bit every now and then, is that good for Napoli? Is that good for Meret? Or is that just a bad idea? Let's keep one, go forward with that, and
no, I'm a proponent of every other match is Ospina Meret or Ospina Meret. You keep them fresher. You have two quality keepers. You build confidence in Meret. Like I'm not the kind of guy to be like, okay, this guy's going to be for the league. This guy's going to be for the cups. This guy's going to... No, have them come in 2 games for Meret, 2 games for Ospina.
Thank you, Bianco.
Know what I mean? That's it. That was it. It was the Osimhen goal. I believe it was the Osimhen goal where he sent it to Osimhen and Osimhen just took a shot from like 50 yards outside the box. But yeah,
Bianco,
no, I'm a big proponent of that. Johnny,
producer.
what about you? What do you think?
I like whatever gets wins. I at the end of the day, what I care about is the result. I care about, getting those 3 points, and
thank you, Joe.
That's why I'm okay with that. If it means if we keep on doing that and it still brings us results, sure. I mean, it doesn't matter if we have that one pillar that we always rely on. If they're both solid starting goalies, why not? It keeps them rested. They're both happy to get playing time. They both get to play in the big matches, and it just helps Napoli going forward. I really don't see a downside to it.
Because I don't see a problem, for our goaltending situation.
And I don't think they see a problem with it either. I don't see any,
if they're happy, I'm happy
at all. I think they're okay with it too. They understand that's the situation, and it's a healthy sense of competition if it exists, because I feel like as if they respect each other well enough that if there is that slight little bit of competition to try to fight for the starting position, it's just they're just less friendly little like hey, come on, I'm doing better than you today type of thing. I think at the end of the day they're both there like, hey, no, we're here for the team. Whichever Gattuso thinks is better for this game, we'll go with it, and we're okay with it. And I think that's what we're blessed about. There's no animosity between them, and I think we should take advantage of that.
Well, there was talks with, I don't know if it probably was agents, like Meret's agent, about possibly Inter picking up Meret, and it's like, this is the thing, man. I think me and Rafa, me and Ken had a back and forth today about agents, but
they're toxic, dude.
They're
yeah,
Ken likes him. Ken is kind of a supporter of agents, but I was like, these guys are a cancer, because as soon as the talk came up about you know, the time being split, maybe a little bit more for Ospina as opposed to Meret, and then that kind of whole debate came up of which goalie to start and who should start. All of a sudden, there's Inter is possibly interested in buying Meret. You know, Meret's agent hints to Inter coming, and I'm just like, really? It's like, really? Is this like, this is a clear setup to the trying to send a message to the coach or the Gattuso or to the organization, and I'm just like, come on, man. So it's another reason why I try not to read the news as much anymore, and I'm really careful and take anything with a grain of salt. But, and I also said yesterday, because somebody asked me, you know, Ralph, who do you choose? And I'm like, I don't know. This is like, I don't choose, I choose both. And if they're happy, I'm good with that, because I like them both. I like them both. You got one for the future. You got one for our death. So I love that line, by the way, Rafa. And you know, it's a good problem to have. And I don't, you know, I'm cool with either one. But if you're in the chat, hit us up. Let us know. If you're rewatching, hit us up in the comments, guys. Share it. Let us know how you feel. But I always felt like Napoli always had a pretty decent goaltending situation. I always liked the Sanctis. I liked Reina. Only that time, like in between them with Raphael and who was there was a couple other goalies, and I was mentioning that was it Cabral?
One of my best
Rafael
friends,
Cabral.
his favorite goalie for Napoli back in the day was Jetso. Jetso,
Mine too. Yetzo and Gianello.
Yeah.
And Gianello. Matteo Gianello. Dude, the last Napoli match I went to was Napoli Spal 1-0 in Serie C. And Gianello saved a penalty kick with like 5 minutes left, dude. And it was like, he was my guy from there on in. Well, Yetzo too, though. I did have the Yetzo jersey. But those two guys, man. And then De Sanctis came in, and he was just great. But
yeah,
we also had Andujar during that time.
Yes,
We were talking
that
about,
was it was like right before Reina
and all that.
Yeah. Well, you know what, so, guys, let me real quick. I just want to cut you off because I had promised Joe Bianco the story that I got to say has to do with goaltending. So since we're on goalies, if we can take a second here,
sure.
Let's do it.
because I promised Joe, and I want to be a man of my word here. I know he's been patiently waiting for a few days. Joey B, are you here? Hit me up in the chat. Just say present. I just want to make sure you're here before I go forward this. If not, we will catch it on the replay. But I got some drip, and then I got a story to tell you guys. So thank you for your patience. Rafa, I didn't cut my hair today. Fired. But here's my drip. Joey Bianco, he'll understand why I chose this hat. Here it is, Joey, just to get a little closer. If you can read the hat. More importantly, Joe, if you can read that. All right, no response, but I'll tell you what it is real quick. Here, Joey, look at the hat.
St. John's.
Yes, but under it, even more important.
Redmond,
exactly. So they're now called St. John's, and I think Bianco was a alumni. But how did you get the throwback? There you go. Let's go, Johnny's. I got some Queens people in the house. So here's the deal. St. John's University is in Queens. I'm from Queens. And now they're called the Red Storm. But in the early 90s, prior to the early 90s, they were the St. John's Redmen. And hence here. And then with the whole kind of like sensitivity thing and all that, they changed it to Red Storm. But this is a throwback hat. It's St. John's Redmen. I know we had a few. I am an alum. Both my brothers.
I never knew that, Ralphie. I never knew that.
So both my brothers, Joey, and my father, are alumni of St. John's University. Both my brothers and my fathers are. And my father, I have two daddies. And my father are alumni of St. John's. I went to St. John's Prep. I never made it to SJU. I took the CUNY route. Yeah. And it is an old hat. It is. The brim, by the way, is still cardboard. So I cannot get this thing wet.
That's
okay.
Crazy.
And the brand is Signature. So super throwback hat. Now here's the story behind it. Joe Bianco and all my other Johnnies in the chat. There was a guy. His name was John Urban. He went to school with my oldest brother, whose name is Joe. He watches the show, Joe Biz, Rafa.
Joe Biz, my man.
John Urban was the varsity goalie for the St. John's soccer team which, by the way, are Division 1 now. And by the way, they actually imported a few Napolitans a few years ago to come play on the team. They literally got like 3 Napolitans to come to America and to play on the St. John's University soccer team, the varsity team. But back in 1994, there was a guy by the name of John Urban. He was the goaltender, and he didn't even like soccer, but he was the goaltender for St. John's University. He tried out for the USA junior team, and he was beaten by one guy, and that guy was Tony Miola.
Nah, that's it.
The USA goaltender. So
That's
John
it.
Urban, St. John's University graduate, varsity soccer team. He's a coach now. Would have been the United States goalkeeper for the men's team, but was beaten out by none other than Tony Miola.
So this must have been before 94.
No, we played in. Oh, it was the junior team, so it probably was like 92 or 93 then, possibly.
Right. Well, Miola was on the team in 90. He was on the U.S. national team in Italia in 90. So it could have been before that then.
Was Joe Biz lying to me then? It might have.
Come on, Joe Biz.
Joe Biz. Either way,
I
tried out for the
fact
team.
check you
Tony
all
Miola.
day, my man. Listen. One thing I'll never forget watching as a child the Italia 90
Thank you.
was, wow, the U.S. have an Italian goalkeeper, and it was Tony Miola, Tony's Donuts. Plus, he's a local boy, so got it. But I don't doubt the story. I just think your brother might have the wrong dates. But that's
maybe.
really awesome. I think that's awesome. That's
fun
crazy.
story. I figured I'd pass it along. I peeped the profile, Joe. I saw St. John's University. I was like, oh, I got to show him this hat. St. John's U, we're a big. I'll leave the hat on for the rest of the show. Why not? Represent the Red Storm, formerly known as the Red Men.
Represent, man. Represent.
Meret Ospina, the ghost of Tony Miola in goal. That's the American Napoli.
I mean, he's not dead. The ghost of Tony Miola.
His
He's
spirit.
still around.
Let's say
I'm just like so excited that we're gonna get a joint World Cup, and it just pisses me off that like Canada's gonna get a men's World Cup, like the professional men's World Cup, and Soccer Quebec announced, because of COVID, we're not gonna fund anything for the upcoming World Cup. So Montreal might just lose its spot as a host city for the tournament.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to probably, if it happens, I'm probably gonna have to drive to Toronto or probably even down to New York if I'm gonna come watch a game or not. But
well, you're in Montreal. Come down to New York. The final. I'm hearing that the final is almost a lock that it's going to be at MetLife Stadium in New York.
Was it 94 in LA? The final
94 was in LA.
Yeah.
Funny story about that. My dad had 2 tickets to that game, and he passed because I wanted to go, but I was too young to go by my parents' standards. But I wanted to go, and he wanted to take his partner in his hair salon barbershop. And because I wanted to go and I begged for him not to go, he didn't go. And he looked at me after that last penalty and he goes, "It's a good thing we didn't go, huh?" He said I probably would have killed some Brazilians. Yeah. But my father I went to Italy, Norway in Giant Stadium, 1-0, Dino Baggio goal. What a absolute experience, man. That was just something I'll never forget. It's something I'll never forget. And for it to come back to this area, I think is so great. The possibility of seeing a bunch of Napoli players representing Italy at that time, I'm hoping that Insigne hangs in and is still part of the national team by then.
Oh boy.
I'm hoping that Italy get close to us. You know what I mean? That'd be great. That'd be great, man.
Because 94, I was only 2 years old. Actually, I was 1 going on 2. Like my stepdad traveled a lot to the States to the Boston games and to the New York games. And I think did Italy play in Philly at one point? I think, I don't know. I know that was maybe Boston and New York that they played in.
They played in Boston against Nigeria. I know.
Yeah, he was at that game, and there was another game.
I don't know if Philly was one of the hosts, but they were in New York a lot.
Yeah,
Put it that way.
But he told me that he took the trips to I think 2 games in the States, and he said there were phenomenal experiences. And we had a taste of it here in Montreal when we had the Junior World Cup and the Women's World Cup, and it was nice to see. But like, it's something else when it's going to be the Men's World Cup. Not disrespecting the women's or the juniors, but what I'm saying is like, I can't wait to experience that feeling just watching the national team right in front of me. You know, I can imagine what you guys probably have seen or felt, just the energy in the city and everything. You know, it's something else. Like, like imagine here in Montreal, it comes alive when it's like the national team that's playing. You know, we have a heavy Italian population here. I think it's the second biggest ethnicity behind the French Quebecers. And the city, when Italy wins, the city jams up. Like like when they won the World Cup in 2006, all the big areas of like the Italian neighborhoods were just full of traffic, of people waving their flags and everything. And just having a World Cup, like your home city being one of the host cities, would be so amazing. And if we don't get it, it sucks. But I'm definitely gonna like benefit of living in Montreal. Oh, you know, New York, 6 hour, 7 hour drive, Boston, 5 hour drive, Toronto, 5 hour drive. You know, like everything's connected. So I'm going to definitely be taking road trips if that happens.
You should see what they do in Canada when they win a Stanley Cup.
And I'm a Bruins fan, so
he is a Bruins fan.
All right, thank you, Johnny. Have a nice night.
I was on your show. I was on your show for the Maradona death, and when you told me that you were a Bruins fan, and the way you celebrated the Bruins with your dad, like I was like, Bruins? How is this possible? In my head, I was thinking, how is he a Bruins fan? He's from Montreal. This is so crazy.
No, not you. But it's not go Habs for you, Johnny.
No, not all. F the Habs. I can't stand
the Habs. Don't like Habs.
Oh yeah, there you go.
It's funny because just a little. You know what? You shared a fun story. I'll share like a little quick fun story.
Please, go ahead. We love fun stories.
So obviously the Italian population here in Canada mostly came after the Second World War. It wasn't pretty much before the First World War or even before the Second World War. It was most of us was after the Second World War. So a lot of like my grandparents' generation, when they came in, you know, the French Canadians were very they weren't very welcoming, let's say. So, you know, because they're all like all the Italians, you know, they're all pretty much blue collar workers, you know, like in higher education. So they used to not like, because of the animosity they had with the French Canadians, they're like, okay, like we're not going to cheer for Montreal. There's ones that cheered for Montreal just to like feel like as if they belong to kind of have something. And then there were the ones that were like, no, screw them. Why should we be happy when they're happy? And for Boston at the time, Phil Esposito was their one of the best players, and he was an Italian Canadian. And before Gretzky held all the scoring records, so there's a lot of Boston fans in Montreal. And my dad was one of those Boston fans. And as a kid, he made me watch like the Habs, Leafs, Sens, whatever. But no, I was like, no, let's go Bruins. And it's funny enough, a lot of the Italians in Montreal, a lot of them are Bruins fans. It's like Montreal's like second team is Boston. Yeah.
Interesting. So I'll be sure to visit Toronto first then.
Man.
Just kidding, guys.
Well, I took my Rangers hoodie off before I put this one on today. So
should I go get the throwback Ranger hat? Hoodie. I got one of those.
I respect the Rangers. Okay. You know,
young team.
You know, they're going to be great. Times. They're going to be great.
Tough times.
Hey, teams go through that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
Yeah, they do. Right, you won a Stanley Cup recently, didn't you?
Yeah, and they lost in 2 finals, and that's been heartbreaking. But, I've seen one Stanley Cup in my. I went to Boston for the parade. Actually, I was like 19 years old, at 18 going on 19. I'm like, you know what? I'm taking the opportunity. When am I going to see this again in my lifetime?
Yeah, you got to do it. No, you got to do it.
And it's like not that far either. I'm like, I'm going to the city to watch the parade, and it's an amazing feeling. It's just so great.
City too.
Oh, it's a beautiful city. I can't say enough about Boston. It would probably be my home away. If I would have to move away from Canada, I would go to Boston probably. But I'm pretty sure it's probably taboo to say to a bunch of New Yorkers in a voice chat.
Buck Forston.
Buck Forston.
I'm a Mets fan, so I I'm indifferent with the Red Sox and the Yankees. Chris Estrada, I got my sweater. Listen to this story, okay? I got this on eBay for like $15. I crap you not. $15. This is the This is the carbon hoodie.
Oh, Ralph, I'll give you 25.
Remember when they came out with the carbon?
Right.
What's that?
I'll give you 25 for it.
Dude, I got the pants too.
You got the pants? I'll give you 50,
yeah.
the whole set. Come on, take it off right now.
I currently can't breathe in this, so if you guys don't want me to stand up and see my waist down. But I found this on eBay, and it was from like an eBay. I'm sure you guys all know of it. eBay, Kappa Store USA has an eBay account, official eBay account. Go on there and you will find a lot of good Kappa deals. If you're looking for Napoli stuff,
on eBay,
it
right?
wasn't 15, it was like 30, but still, I was like, I couldn't believe it. $30, you know? Yeah, check it out on eBay. I will, at some point I can find the link. But Joe Bianco says, speaking of Boston, shout out to Ken. Ken is the best. Ken lives in Boston. Ken is from where my parents live now in New York, right at the bottom of Putnam County, top of Westchester County. But he lives out in Boston with his wife, Alex, and he's a big New York sports fan too, living in Boston. So that's got to be tough for him, you know. But yeah,
stay tuned, Joey. We got something in the works with Ken. We're not going to give away any details, but the Far From Vesuvius team is working on things.
SoFlo Luca is really killing me today with his Florida-esque
baseball's whack.
You know, but no, he'll say baseball's whack, but he's saying go Heat, go Caps. I mean, not Caps, go Panthers. Go Miami FC. Inter Miami, he laughed, but you know what? Inter Miami has Higuain brothers, and we don't like Inter Miami because of that. So,
I mean, I have Huberto and Barkov in my keeper pool, so you know what? Go Panthers. You know, I like it when Panthers get results. How about that? I'll support him there. Tommy Bologna with the Chicago Blackhawks. Shout out to 2013. No, I do not want to remember that at all. Please, no, don't bring.
Welcome to the NHL rant, guys.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I'm in ESPN. I'm in an ESPN hockey fantasy league with one of my friends from
Run, Johnny, run! They're coming! Run!
Joe Dombrowska. And I'm not doing bad. I'm 5-3. I just lost my week last week by not that much, but I'm not doing bad. I've never done it before.
Yeah. What's the standings on the prediction league, Rafa? I think we need to.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you guys!
How we doing?
I'm like 10 weeks behind.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I need to listen. I promise you, when I get it done, we'll have like a Raff and Raff rant.
Yes, we'll put it
on the prediction league. I am working on a real sweet prize for the winner.
Okay.
So I'm not going to spoil it right now, but I'm working on a real sweet prize for the winner.
Is it a Hulk Hogan championship belt so we can celebrate, brother?
You're going to make me get up. Hold on a second.
Oh, he's actually going to get it. No, if it's a surprise,
let me get you off screen, Rafa. Hold on. Go ahead.
If it's a surprise, I don't want to ruin it though.
See, he's got to see what we did. No, but we got to get those standings. You know, I was like, man, I want to know. The last time I checked, I moved up, and I was like, where am I now?
I think the Calcio guys, we've been doing pretty poorly. We've been inconsistent with our predictions. You know, it's because us three were like having it back and forth, and sometimes you know we just say these ridiculous results and like, come on, let's not go with it.
Yeah.
Listen, today, I don't have the prize handy.
There was Food Channel. Today was WWE. Don't get me started on WWE, okay? Because
did you watch yesterday? I was talking all about buffalo mozzarella. So yesterday we had the Food Channel. Oh, Ralph, you haven't got there yet. Watch the end of the show.
I'm halfway in. I haven't seen it yet.
I'm telling you, the end of these shows just start becoming. I love it, but you know, yeah, I got into what DOP is and how buffalo mozzarella is made and what the laws are. It was a good show. I think talking about mozzarella and Napoli, you're allowed to talk about mozzarella and Napoli in the same show. I feel like that goes hand in hand.
I think so too. I think what we're gonna do is We'll also do a special on my wood oven pizza maker.
Okay.
And my doppio zero farina margaritas that I make in Caputo.
Wow.
So check this out. I want you guys to see. You brought up a Hulk Hogan championship belt, right? Look at this. This is signed by Hulk Hogan. It's a toy belt, and it's from this era. But this is actually signed by Hulk Hogan.
Is that the prize?
I never really put up. And no, this is not the prize. He said Hulk Hogan championship belt. I couldn't refuse. I couldn't refuse.
Well,
but Hulk Hogan actually signed this. And my fiance arranged for it to be a birthday or Father's Day or Christmas gift or something like that. But we're big wrestling fans, right, Johnny?
Of course.
Yeah. We chat wrestling every now and then.
Yeah. And now WWE, AEW got Christian. I'm kind of sad with that. I hoped he was going to stay in WWE, but whatever.
I'm not an AEW fan at all. I just can't get behind it.
They're poaching the old stars.
You tell everybody we're not going to get WWE stars, and all you do is get WWE stars.
Exactly.
It's really, really starting to piss me off. I'm not knocking the talent, and I'm not knocking the ability of these guys, but it's just, I don't know. Plus, I'm a really big fan of NXT and SmackDown. Raw, whatever.
So if Gattuso was in a wrestling match,
okay.
Ooh, Gattuso. If Gattuso was in a wrestling match, go ahead.
With, I don't know, who would be a good
opponent?
Balotelli. So if Gattuso,
the Rock Box, Sessa, you have the Rock Box. That's right. The Uni is good. The Rock Box is good too.
Gattuso wins automatically.
Versus Balotelli, or are they tag team partners? Because if they're tag team partners, they're tag team champions. That's for sure.
That's for sure. That I will
I'm
give
the tag team champion. No, so I'm the tag team champion.
If Gattuso,
no, I'm
why always me?
Why always me?
What? Craig from ESPN.
They would both be heels. That's for sure. If Gattuso and Balotelli were in the WWE, they're both heels. There's no way.
Sure. That's a fact. That's a fact. They're heels all day.
Unless you give Gattuso the Kevin Owens treatment, where he's such a big heel, but he's so good that he becomes the face. Absolutely. Like he does, like he goes all the way in the left side of the spectrum, that he somehow comes back on the right side of the spectrum.
What would be Gattuso's signature move if he was a WWE?
Stone Cold Stunner. It would some kind of Stone Cold Stunner type of variation.
I think Gattuso does like a choke slam. You remember when Gattuso?
Yes,
dude. I'll never forget when Gattuso ran up to Lippi in 2006 and just like snuffed him and choked him because he was happy with him.
Yeah. I love you. So Gattuso for the win with the choke slam.
I have absolutely. I have a really cool little tidbit too. The football announcer / analyst Kevin Egan. I'm sure you guys know who that is. Kevin Egan. He used to be with I couldn't even tell you where he was, but he's on a few networks. I think he might have been with Fox. I think he might have been with beIN Sports at a time. Kevin Egan. He just signed a WWE deal. He's gonna be an announcer for the WWE. I found that out right before we went on. I think that's awesome. I remember when Todd Grisham was doing that. Remember when Todd Grisham was with the WWE, but he was also with Fox Soccer Channel at the same time.
Oh man, I think that sometimes a good announcer can make a difference in a match. Like especially when you got Michael Cole being like when you would get fed information from like Vince. Oh, mention this. Oh, mention that, and then Michael Cole will just mention it, and you got like the contrary.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. But Mauro Ronaldo was one of the best WWE announcers that they had going.
Oh, Mauro Ronaldo, yes.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate he got mistreated because that guy was just even if it sounded cheesy as a Mamma Mia, like it sounded. It sounded. It was so good to watch.
It's character. You gotta love character.
He can be an awesome soccer calcio commentator, or like a good soccer commentator, if you ask me. You need guys like, dude, listen, we listen, Matteo Bonetti and not just because he was on the show and because he's a buddy of mine, but
Rafa owes him money.
Dude, I use that all the time. Whenever the game is on the TV and they're like, oh wow, is this your team? Nah, but this is my buddy commentating. I use it all the time.
That's
But
great.
him and Mark Donaldson, that's what you do. This is something else that we don't talk about. Serie A might be losing the rights. The ESPN might be losing the rights to Serie A over here in the States. And I know over there it's DAZN, right, Gianni? But
I also watch it on Rai because we have a TV network that gets the Sky Sports and Rai from Italy and TLN has a feed. So sometimes, yes, it's DAZN if you can't get it on the local channels from there. But yeah,
I've been getting Rye forever. I'm done with Rye. So it's always
a bit boring. I agree.
It's always something with them. But yeah, man, Matteo and Mark are just like they're just for Serie A. They're just perfect for Serie A. And Matteo tells me that if they lose. If ESPN loses them, he won't go to where they're going. It's most likely to be Paramount Plus, which is CBS. And CBS does all their stuff from like London as far as football goes. So he just can't do that. He can't make that move. So we're going to lose them if we lose ESPN, which is, and I don't know if Johnny, if you've heard Matteo's commentary or, Mark Donaldson either, but they're just such great ambassadors for Serie A, and I really hope that ESPN keeps them. I like ESPN's coverage too. I really do. They just got Del Piero too. They just got Del Piero. I think it's awesome.
And I think sometimes a good commentator can make that extra difference in help growing a sport in a region. Like if you watch a sport and the commentator is just exciting or super into it, it helps. It just helps make the sport more popular, and let's be honest here. Who's really watching Serie A games in North America? Italian Canadians, Italian Americans, it's not really going to be neutrals watching it unless you're a diehard soccer fan and there just happens to be a derby going on, because so help pique interest too, I guess. So
right.
It does suck if you end up losing that. And if you guys do end up losing that whole connection and brand, it's unfortunate.
It and I don't know I don't know what kind of effect it would have on the Canadian aspect, but Estrada asks in here what's the reason for the possibility of ESPN losing them. It's because the coverage rights ends this season, is a 3-year deal, and Serie A are looking to sell their rights anyway, like their international rights, and if they do, they're probably going to sell to the highest bidder, and right now Paramount Plus, I believe, has the highest bid for them, and I have to say, the coverage was pretty good. The coverage for CBS All Access, the former CBS All Access for the Champions League and the Europa League, was pretty good, the coverage, but the app really sucks. And I don't know if it's just me, but I never get it to work on my television screen. No matter what platform I use, I always have to sit there and use my iPad or my iPhone.
Really?
That's crazy. And I'd like to know why Michael thinks ESPN sucks, because for me, ESPN is absolutely phenomenal. The Serie A coverage is phenomenal. Yeah. Some of the guys there are a little questionable, like Craig Burley.
Is it ESPN or ESPN Plus? Because ESPN
it's
Plus...
all. ESPN is all together.
No, Johnny, that's fine. But guys, we're getting to that mark, guys. I think it's time to wrap up here. Johnny, let's plug you here. I'm gonna put up your banner. Let's tell the folks at home where they can find you.
So I'm Gianni. I'm one of the co-hosts on the Calcio Guys, as you could see down below. That's on Twitter, or you can find me, myself, and I at Gianni Rules 27. Yes, I made it when I was 7 years old, and I've never been changing it.
Never changing it.
So you can find our podcast channel there, the Calcio Guys, or myself at Gianni Rules 27, and it's the same thing for Instagram. So we have that as well, and for Facebook, the Calcio Guys on Facebook.
Awesome. Is that 27 an ode to Quagliarella?
No, it's actually my birthday is July 27th. So,
there you go.
So my numbers have always been either 7 or 27 growing up. It's always been like my lucky number. So every sport I play in, I'm always either wearing 7, or if somebody else has a 7, fine, I'll take 27. So.
All right.
Dang, Mike Marolda is throwing shade at ESPN. The Serie A,
man, we got to wrap up, guys. Before
listen, the Serie A Austin podcast is great. What doesn't make it great is Mina Rizuki, and I said it, and I'll say it again.
Oh, Rena, you're being hard on her, Ralph. I re-listened to what she said.
She's a biased fan, though.
But I know, no, he's
biased
talking about
take.
the Insigne thing. I know, right? Is that it, or is there more that I need to know?
It's more than meets the eye. It's not just the Insigne thing.
Okay, okay, fair enough.
I see her comments. I think she's just super biased. That's the only thing that I really don't like about her commentary.
Everybody throws shade at Napoli,
It's
Michael.
Mina that throws shade at Napoli, dude. Listen the next time. It's Mina that throws shade at Napoli.
Okay.
And Matteo stuck up for Insigne when it came to that, dude. Like
yes. I mean,
what's wrong? She's just mad that Napoli humiliated Juventus. I'm sorry. What's wrong with Insigne running up to his manager and hugging him because of he's suppressed the demons off of him.
All right.
You know what I mean? And that's a show for another day if you want it to be.
But if you want it, hit us up in the comments, guys. We're gonna have a show just about. Let me get a Forza Napoli up in this chat. We do have a few people blow up this chat right now. Calcio Guys, 3 hearts, guys.
Napoli.
Thank you for letting us Forza Napoli. Blow it up.
You got a big win.
Guys, Calcio Guys, thank you for letting us borrow Johnny. You did great.
Thanks for having me on. I honestly feel really happy and honored to be on.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Big Forza Napoli. Tony Sessa, Joey Bianco, the highest, Michael Meralda, Tony Sessa, Matt, Francesco, us, Tommy in the house. Forza Napoli, guys. Thank you so much. Who else we got? Alfonso.
Guys, they're exceptional.
Yes.
Exceptional. I love it.
Get on. You guys make me laugh there, man. I'm telling you, you guys make
and I've been on there.
Me up. Yeah. Shout out to Canada. You guys roll hard, man. I don't F with you guys. I don't mess with you guys, man. You guys are good, man. All Canada. We had few. You're like our third Canadian on this show. Nice. Always a turnout. Always a turnout. Nice. I love it. I love it, guys. All right. Forza Napoli, Reno. Forza Napoli. Joe, I'm going to get you on. I didn't get you last week. All right, guys. That's a wrap. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you, Rafa. Respo, the Vicar of Vesuvius. Always a pleasure. I co-host our great guest host tonight, Johnny. I'm not even going to do the last thing.
Delli Colli.
Great bagels.
Guest host.
What happened?
Should we announce next week's guest host?
Go ahead. Yes.
Joe Fischetti from Calcio Napoli Calcio podcast will be here next week, next Monday. Post Milan Napoli, not the post match show, but the Monday after that match. So we're gonna either be scratching our heads.
So much fun.
Excited as hell.
Oh yeah.
And it's right in the middle of that hell week. It's hell week.
Hell week,
on the road.
The 3-headed dragon.
Second place, third place, fourth place, all in a row, all on the road. It's going to be ridiculous. This will make or break our season, guys.
It certainly will. It's definitely going to be March
Madness
this month. March Madness is an understatement for this year, guys. But thank you again. Thank you to everybody in the chat. It was a pleasure. Pleasure, Johnny. Forza Napoli. We'll see you again soon, guys. Ciao, ciao, ciao.